Right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to call to order this public hearing for 1900, 1903, and 1950 Sandown Place. This is an OCP and zoning bylaw amendment that's being considered tonight. I'll cover this in the script that I have to cover, as this is a quasi-judicial setting. But did just want to note that we'll be holding this meeting in a hybrid format. That means members of the council, the public, and staff may be participating either person or virtually. To that end, Councillor Hanson is joining us virtually, so you have 5 members of the council here present. The 2 that are not here, in order to be eligible to vote at second and third reading, will have to review the minute materials or the video in order to be prepared for that time. So that's Councillors Murray and Councillor Hope that are not able to join us this evening. Here, at the beginning of the meeting, I have a script to go through. It only takes a couple of minutes, and then we're going to have the presentation from our staff, the presentation from the applicant, and then we'll get to the public comments after that point. This public hearing is being convened pursuant to Section 464 of the Local Government Act and is being held in a hybrid meeting format, meaning there is a combination of in-person electronic participation by some or all members of council, staff, and the public. The chair has established the following rules for this hearing. 1, following the staff and applicant presentation, we'll go through the established speakers list. At the end of the speakers list, the chair may call for any other speakers not on the speakers list. You will have 5 minutes to address council for a first time. Begin your remarks to council by stating your name. After everyone who wishes to speak has spoken once, speakers will then be allowed 1 additional 5-minute opportunity. Any additional presentations will only be allowed at the discretion of the chair. Please do not repeat information from your previous presentations and ensure your comments remain focused on the bylaws under consideration this evening. If you have provided a written submission, there is no need to read it, as it will have been seen by the council. You may summarize or briefly reiterate the highlights of your submission, but ensure your comments pertain to the bylaws under consideration at this hearing. All members of the audience are asked to be respectful of one another as diverse opinions are expressed. Council wishes to hear everyone's views in an open and impartial forum. Some important notes about public hearings. Council is here to listen to the public, not to debate the merits of the bylaw. Council may ask clarifying questions. The clerk has a binder containing documents and submissions related to the bylaws, which council has received and which you are welcome to review. This is available on the table next to the door and online at dnv.org/agenda. Everyone at the hearing will be provided an opportunity to speak. If necessary, we will continue the hearing on a second night. At the conclusion of the public input, council may request further information from staff, which may or may not require an extension of the hearing, or council may close the hearing, after which council should not receive further new information from the public. Finally, please note that this hearing is being recorded via Zoom and recorded in accordance with the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. Will you read the bylaw into the record, please, clerk?
Thank you, through your worship. District of North Vancouver Official Community Plan Bylaw 7900/2011, Amendment Bylaw 8650/2023, Amendment 51. Bylaw 8650 proposes to amend the OCP land use designation of the subject site from residential level 2 detached residential RES2 to residential level 4 transition multifamily RES4. District of North Vancouver rezoning bylaw 1432, bylaw 8651. Bylaw 8651 proposes to amend the district zoning bylaw by rezoning the site from single-family residential 3, RS3, to comprehensive development zone 147, CD 147. The CD 147 zone addresses permitted and accessory uses, conditions of use, and zoning provisions such as density, amenities, setbacks, height, building and site coverage, landscaping and stormwater management, and parking, loading, and servicing requirements.
Thank you very much. And as I said, we'll be starting this evening with our presentation from staff. So I'll turn it over to Graham Budge.
Good evening, Your Worship, members of council and members of the public. My name is Graham Budge and I'm a development planner with the district. This public hearing is for the proposed redevelopment of the 3 properties at 1900, 1903, and 1950 Sandown Place. The proposal before you is for 23 owned townhomes in 2 3-story buildings. My presentation includes 10 slides and is approximately 8 minutes in length. The site, outlined in red, is located at the northeast of the Lionsgate Village peripheral area at the intersection of Fullerton Avenue and Sandown Place, across from the Lionsgate Village Community Rec Center. The site is approximately 1,675 square meters in size and consists of 3 lots. As shown in the aerial map, the site is among the few remaining single-family sites within the peripheral area. There are many other projects of comparable form and density throughout the Lionsgate Village peripheral area. This proposal is being reviewed against and is compliant with key district policy documents, including the OCP Review Action Plan, the Lower Capilano Marine Village Center Implementation Plan, and the Village Peripheral Housing Plan. The Peripheral Housing Plan utilizes a flexible framework of suitable densities relative to the size of a land assembly. The policy identifies this 18,000 square foot site in the peripheral area as suitable for townhouses up to 3 stories in height and a density between 0.8 to 1.2 FSR. This proposal at 23 townhomes in 2 3-story buildings and a density of approximately 1.16 FSR complies with the policy. The required OCP amendment will bring the site into alignment with the peripheral housing plan by redesignating the lands to allow for this density and designating it as development permit areas for form and character and energy and water conservation and greenhouse gas emission reduction. Turning to the proposed project details, the ground floor site plan is shown on the screen. Vehicle access to the single-level underground parking garage would be from Sandown Place, indicated with the large blue arrow. Pedestrian site access would be off the Sandown and Fullerton Avenue sidewalks or the central interior walkway. Individual unit entries are from the Sandown and Fullerton Avenue sidewalks and the central interior walkway. The proposal also includes 3 enhanced accessible ground floor units shown in orange outline, and there would be an accessible path of travel to those units shown in dashed red line from the sidewalks and parkade elevator via the central interior walkway. The proposed unit mix is a total of 23 units, including 3 one-bedroom units, 15 two-bedroom units, and 5 three-bedroom units. 3 of the 3-bedroom units are capable of activating a lock-off suite that would have access from an independent entrance at the ground level. As mentioned, 3 of the 2-bedroom units are enhanced accessible ground-oriented units. Moving to the parking rates proposed in the CD 147 zone. In terms of vehicle parking, the proposal is for a total of 36 spaces, 4 of which are for visitors, for an overall parking rate of 1.56 spaces per unit. Staff are supportive of the proposed vehicle parking rates as they are consistent with the directions established in the OCP for town and village centers and are comparable to those rates at nearby developments. All vehicle parking spaces will be provided with level 2 energized outlets capable of 240-volt electric vehicle charging. The project would include bicycle parking at a rate of 2 spaces per unit for a total of 46 spaces of resident bicycle parking within the secured bike storage room in the garage. There are also 6 spaces of visitor bicycle parking at grade near the south entranceway to the site. In terms of project sustainability, the proposed development will be designed to Step 4 of the BC Energy Step Code and Emissions Level 3. The OCP amendment would also designate the lands as development permit areas for energy and water conservation and greenhouse gas emission reduction, and the proposal will be required to obtain a development permit for that prior to issuance of any building permit. As mentioned, all vehicle parking spaces will be provided with level 2 energized outlets capable of 240-volt electric vehicle charging, and there will be level 1 outlets for e-bikes within the bike storage room. With regards to public engagement and public input, a virtual public information meeting for this development was held from March 21st to April 11th, 2022. Signs were installed on the site and over 500 notices were delivered throughout the neighborhood. A copy of all the public input received is included in the public hearing binder. In-kind cash contributions associated with this development proposal include a flat rate cash community amenity contribution of $371,000 secured in the CD 147 zone, a 4.5 square meter corner cut of road dedication at the corner of Fullerton Avenue and Sandown Place, frontage and offsite improvements valued at $1.7 million, including street paving, new curbs and sidewalks, boulevard and street tree planting, and a pedestrian crosswalk across Fullerton Avenue. As well, the BC Hydro wires will be undergrounded. District DCCs are estimated at $233,000, and there will also be Metro Vancouver and TransLink regional DCCs collected. In summary, the project meets key district policies and staff are supportive of the proposed bylaws for OCP amendment and rezoning. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your presentation. At this point, I'll call on the applicant to give their presentation. When you're ready to go, you have 15 minutes to present.
Your Worship and dear councillors, my name is Sana Azmani. I'm an architect and I'm married to one of the owners, so I'm talking on behalf of the owners today. This is Mr. Matthew Chang, the lead architect of the project who has designed the project. I've made a presentation, it's only 10 minutes, just to, after having the council's feedback, particularly regarding affordability, accessibility, and the issues of parking. I want to discuss whether this project can be relatively affordable or considered as a less unaffordable option in the area. If I may, I just want to first show the ownership structure of this project. This is not a typical development project who has a developer. Actually, three single family houses next to each other have joined together to make this project happen. So unlike larger scale developers who have probably significant overheads such as office rentals, staff, and insurance. Here, we're hoping to avoid these costs, and hopefully these savings can be passed to the buyers. I was just wondering, can this project improve the current condition that is at the site, which is 3 single-family townhouses, each between $2 to $4 million. And we are turning them into 23 units with 3 lockups that at the current market, I was looking at the market, what the listings are currently, it seems like they'll be listed for around $1 million or less than $1 million. Does this project offer a different option? So in that area, you have the single family townhouses. When we do a comparison, we see the condo apartments that are pricier per square feet. They go even higher as you get the view. And on top of that, they have the strata fees, which can all add to the cost of owning these units. And on the other hand, you have the 3-level townhouses in the area that are listed around $2 million. So although this project is not at all classified as an affordable low-income housing, maybe it can present a less unaffordable option in the area. Another concern was the number of parking, and after receiving the council's comments regarding the parking, thank you for those comments. The District of North Vancouver has allowed us to reduce 6 parking stalls in this project, and we thank them for that. This change responds to the traffic concerns that we all had, but then it also leads to cost saving for the project because each parking stall is around $30,000 to build. And this can ultimately be a burden on the person who's buying these units. And additionally, the large size of the parking meant this site was mostly impermeable and didn't absorb much of the rainwater. So I know your council and your worship, you're all very well informed about the issues with the storm water management crisis that we have. But as an architect / owner on this project, it was just interesting for me to see the process of what happened when we can reduce the size of the parking stall. So if it's okay, I just want to take like 2 minutes to share with you with the process, because I know you see the submissions, but you don't see the process. So as you see the large rectangle in blue on the top, that's the tank, storm water management tank that we had. And because the parking size was so large, there was no place to put the tank on the ground, which is usually where the tank should be. So this tank was actually hovering over all the parking stalls, which made all of us very nervous. It would be very costly to build. So as we make the parking area smaller, we can also reduce the size of the tank because the site is more permeable, and remove that hovering tank. And the other issue that happens when you make the parking smaller, there is now an opportunity to save existing trees on the site. So another thing that you don't see in the submission is that through our resubmissions, we were at some point trying to save 3 of the trees on the site, but then we found out that also the districts of North Vancouver is also bringing in new services. So that made it more difficult. So these trees are not only homes for local squirrels, birds, insects, cool our streets, they also help in our stormwater management. So we want to also, again, offer that we can have this option if during construction we see District of North Vancouver arborists and arborists both feel comfortable. And during construction, we see it's a possibilities to save, especially the tree at the corner is a more significant tree number 22. We are happy to look into that again. That's the tree at the corner of Sandown and Fullerton in the picture. Another issue was the accessibility. So I believe this project goes beyond the even new BC code requirements. There's no shared corridors in this project. So probably, if I'm not wrong, there's no requirement to have any accessible units in this project. But we have parents that are growing old in their homes, and we understand the need for accessible units. So we have, with the design that Mr. Chang has been able to achieve in this project, he has 3 flat single level units at ground and then stacked 2-level townhouses on top. So we were able to have 3 fully accessible units in this project. And the courtyard path of travel will be accessible for furniture and wheelchair access, for furniture movement and wheelchair access. And lastly, again, sorry to bring this up again, the bird-friendly design will also be incorporated in this project. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, and we think this project, we hope this project will be a good addition to the neighborhood and to the community, and we hope to have your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Moving on to the public speakers list. I will say it's unusual to have 25 people in the room and nobody's signed up to speak ahead of time, but so we're going to go directly to checking with the room and the virtual participants, if anyone would like to add their name to the list. So would anybody here in the room like to come up and comment? I'll ask the applicants to return to their seats just because that's where the public's going to sit. Yes. So you're welcome to come up, and when you're comfortable, you have 5 minutes to address the hearing. I appreciate if you start with your name and your approximate address.
Sure. My name is Ryan Campbell, on the Sandown Place, just across from this proposed development. Two simple questions, one for clarification. Will there be a sidewalk installed on Sandown Place in front of this development? I think that's a yes.
So it is officially, it's a public hearing, which means it's not question answer. We're here to receive your hearing on the matter, but I think I can get an answer to that one. Mr. Budge, do you have clarity? Is there a sidewalk proposed for the Sandown side of the facility?
Yes, there will be as part of the offsite improvements.
Thank you.
New curb and sidewalk.
Great. It'll be interesting to see how that works because it's a partial sidewalk on the other side and then it'll be partial on this side as well. But either way, that's a big improvement for the area. I personally support that. And the other one is just a comment. Those trees are excellent. They're really nice. They bring a lot of nature to the street, and if there's any way to save even one extra tree, we would support that, my family and I. That's all I have.
Thank you very much for your words. Would anybody else like to address the hearing? Yes, please come on up. And that offer goes to anybody joining us virtually as well. If you want to raise your virtual hand, we will put you into the rotation. I can see there is a virtual attendee that has their hand up, so they'll be next. Ian McDonald will be next, but welcome. When you're comfortable, you have 5 minutes to address the hearing. If you could start with your name and approximate address, please.
Hello, my name is Marina Kosheva. I live in Fullerton, it's Glenair. Street is ABB flow. So right now we have a huge problem. It's a traffic. Fullerton, it's so busy right now. And I know it's not going to be just only this one. Construction in the future is going to be Marine Drive and Capilano Road is a huge affordable housing. So, and we have it in the future more townhouses. And like measure right now, what we have at townhouses is a lot of families with kids. And anyway, we're going to use it with Fullerton. And in this project shows exactly directly all parking and 37, sorry, I don't remember, 37 cars. So it's probably at the same moment, we have it like about 100 cars in the Fullerton Avenue. So, and this is my huge concern right now, because I know it's going to be so huge problem in the next 5 years when everything's going to be done and people come. So the second, my concern, we don't have enough walk-in clinics. We don't have enough hospital spots. We don't have enough daycares. So you put it a lot of projects with kids, but we don't have it with success for community, for grocery. We just like, we live by self, and what we can use it just only highway, and we can use it West Vancouver. But I have kids, and my kids in West Vancouver. Why? Because we moved from Richmond, and my 2 kids attend before French immersion school. And what I received in here is said, sorry, we don't have spots for your kids in here, in North Vancouver. So as I found that we received 2 different school spots for my kids in West Vancouver. My neighbor just applied for her kid, start kindergarten in West Vancouver. Why? Because they said, we don't have it, not spots, we don't have it after school program. So it means we just live in something like middle of nowhere. And it's just not just only this project. Next project we are going to hear is the same problem. That's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your comments. I have a virtual participant, I believe it was Ian McDonald. Ian McDonald, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly. Welcome. You have 5 minutes to address the hearing.
Actually, I will take back those 5 minutes because I'm really going to comment on the next project. I apologize. I jumped in one project too soon.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. All right. So just to be clear, the address we're talking about is 1900 to 1950 Sandown Place first. Would anybody else like to comment in this public hearing? Okay, so this is going to be a little, sound a little archaic, but I'm going to have to exhaust the speakers list. So I'm going to ask this 3 times. 1, would anybody else like to address this hearing for a first, second, or third time? 2, would anybody else like to address this hearing for a first, second, or third time? I have a virtual participant. Oh, sorry, that's one of my counselors. Counselor, I'm assuming that's a motion coming up, not a. Sorry, I should double check. Are there any clarifying questions from council? I think I saw one come in, but it was rescinded. Oh, there's still one. All right, we won't exhaust it quite yet, Councillor Hanson. Go ahead, Mr. Budge.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through the chair to Councillor Forbes, a total of 12 trees require removal as they conflict with the proposed construction, and there's a further potential.
Can you read the record, the question into the record, please?
How many trees, the question is, through the chair, the question is how many trees are being removed and are replacement trees being planted in this or other areas? And so 12, the answer is 12 trees conflict with the proposed construction and require removal. And there's a potential for a further 5 that may need to be removed due to the incremental effect of exposure to wind from this site and other nearby developments. Any trees that require permit for removal at the site will require replacement of 1 to 3 ratio of replacement, 3 replacement trees for every 1 removed with permit. That's according to the tree protection bylaw. And it's expected that due to site constraints, not all trees will be able to be replanted on site, and as such, the environmental compensation fee will be taken in lieu of any trees that are unable to be accommodated on site. And the environmental compensation fee will be used to plant trees in available space elsewhere.
Okay. Thank you for your response. Are there any other questions from council? Okay. Is that, sorry, Yan Zhang, are there any other questions from the council? No. Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to go back to exhausting the public speakers list. Would anybody else like to address this hearing for first time? Would anybody else like to address this hearing for a second time? And for a third and final time, would anybody else like to address this hearing for a first, second, or third time speaking? Hearing none, seeing no virtual participants raising their hand, I'm going to declare that we have exhausted the speakers list. Okay, now I will seek a motion from members of council. I believe Councillor Hanson, you have your hand raised. Do you have a motion?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. I move that the public hearing be closed and the matter be referred to the next available date for second and third reading.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Councillor Back. All right, I'm prepared to call the question on that. All those in favor? Contrary minded? The motion carries. So just to be clear about what that means is that this item is now closed. The council hasn't made a decision on it. They've referred it back to a regular meeting of council to hear the second and third readings of it, and that's when you'll get the benefit of the council's comments on the matter. In the interim time, this issue is closed, which means the council can't receive additional new information on this subject. If you have clarifying questions, you can reach out to staff. Please don't reach out to the council. They're not supposed to receive additional information in the process. I will check in with the clerk now. What's your intended date for return for second and third reading?
Thank you, through your worship. Tentatively scheduled for November 4th. However, we'll need to confirm with planning staff.
So we're going to do our best to try to have it on November 4th, but you do have to monitor the agendas as they get published in the week before that meeting. And you'll have to look it up and see whether or not that item is going to be considered at the regular meeting of council on November 4th at that time. This matter is now closed.